This is the bike, and this is the man himself. Back from a round the world tour on a single speed bike. Tell us about your trip. How was it?
One word, it's been amazing. Absolutely loved it. It was a blast. Spent a year pedaling around the world and seeing so many different places and different cultures, and possibly to put it in one sentence, it's been a hell of a ride. It's been not easy at all times, but I think the good times have definitely been more than the bad times, and yeah, just an amazing adventure, really. That's what it was, to put it in a nutshell. The idea came about pretty much when I left New Zealand. Loved cycling over there, and I always wanted to go back to New Zealand, actually. And never came about, because life catches up with you very quickly, and the older you get, the quicker it gets. I just wanted to take a year to explore, and I also wanted to take a year to get out of the daily grind, because I think I was a bit hung up with this idea, you know, when you always want to do something and then you just don't do it because you got a job and there's things happening in your life, and then I think at a certain stage you become very comfortable in that, but you, like, from the outside it's comfortable, but inside yourself you're not comfortable with that because you actually want to do something else and you know you can do it. And that's why I took the single speed, because I wanted to have something which is a bit off the grid. I wouldn't have just taken a touring bike like everyone else going around the world, because this bike and the whole journey was my journey, you know, and I really enjoyed it because it was my trip. I think I've done 34,000 kilometers now, or I'm very close to, so let's keep it 34,000. That's a lot. Just to put it in a bit of a comparison, like the official world record, you have to do 29,000 kilometers. So that's the official round the world Guinness record. So I've done 5,000 more than that.
How many countries?
26. If you include Northern Ireland, Wales, England and Scotland as separate countries. Other than that, it was 23. More than 3,000 kilometers a month.
Incredible.
It's a fair bit. Per day, again, it's a rough estimate. It really differed on the country. It's around about, I would say, 130 kilometers. Wow. And the longest day was 255 kilometers. Highest average I had was the 10 days crossing the Nullarbor, which was 175 kilometers on average each day for 10 days, which wow. There was I think in terms of the physicality, that was possibly the biggest effort. The highest I've been in terms of altitude was 3,150 meters in Iran. The lowest I've been was minus 67, that was on the Caspian Sea.
Tell us a little bit about your bike. What makes it special for this kind of journey?
I think the thing that makes it special that it's just so not the touring bike you would imagine it to be.
And it's single speed?
So it's single speed, yeah, it's only got one gear and it's got a wicked freewheel sound. So that's pretty cool, love that. Should we do it again?
Yeah.
Woohoo! That's brilliant. So, you know, whenever I don't have a bell, but you just have to freewheel and people will recognize you instantly.
But why single speed? Most people would think a geared bike for such a journey. Yeah,
you would think. I just love the simplicity. And it turns out that you can ride the whole world on one really fine gear. I think there's some things which are quite unique about the bike, especially if you look about going around the world. It's got 29-inch wheels. Which means they're all much better than 26-inch wheels. When I talked to people initially, they were like, I shouldn't take those big wheels because you don't really get spares in developed countries. But then they're rock solid, they didn't break. I had one Perkins broken, that was it, and they're still true. There was bars here, those are Jones bars. Again, I haven't seen anyone touring on those. They come from the mountain bike world. There's a chap up in Oregon who does them, and he does pretty unconventional bikes as well, so they've got plenty of space to crap around, and you can also hang loads of stuff on them.
Who's your little mascot?
This is Sophie. Hello, Sophie. Sophie's been on there since Iran.
Since Iran, fantastic.
Yeah. She's weathered out a couple of storms. It's a really old-fashioned bike in a sense. It's got a steel frame. It's got a square taper bottom bracket for people who are not into this this is basically what you have on your cheapest chips bike normally. But the good thing about it, like, it's just rock solid, you know, and it's got some fancy cranks on it, so they weren't cheap. But other than that,
It's obviously a very kitted out bike. What couldn't you do without on your journey?
the rider. Everything is pretty essential, to be honest with you. There isn't anything. There's only a little few things I haven't used in the year. Other than that, I pretty much used everything. I think I learned to chill out and just like treat every day like it's its own entity. You know, you'll find when you've got a rough day, and you will eventually have rough days. Even everything is going super smooth. Just go to bed, sleep, and you wake up in the morning. It's a new day, and the sun might be shining. I think in terms of sense of achievement, I had that many times, you know, and that's a nice thing to have. And it's also, you can justify having a day off every now and then if you've ridden 1,500 kilometers over the Nullarbor, where everyone was shit scared of, and I actually quite enjoyed it. So yeah, I simply love riding bikes.
For anyone who would love to do this, what would you suggest? Any advice?
Try out a couple of little trips beforehand. Don't rush into this saying, I want to cycle the world and I'm going to start tomorrow. It sounds all very romantic and it all sounds pretty easy, but it's actually not. And I think you're better off knowing a bit about yourself. Also, consider the fact, if you do that, no matter how hard you try, you'll be lonely at some stage. You know, you're on your own company most of the time, and you're on your own company at times where you actually don't want to be, but it's just the nature of what you're doing. So I think make yourself comfortable with that, and that doesn't have to be cycling. But if you're a person who doesn't like being on yourself at all, I would possibly suggest try something else, because it is like, from all the glamorous looks, it can be a pretty daunting experience at stages as well, because you really get to know yourself, and you also get to know sides you possibly don't want to know. But that's it. That's just what happens. In terms of the bike, the more practical skills, don't fuss too much about the planning of the route. That's one thing I found. Like, I had a rough idea, but that was about it. And I got along with that pretty well. I had my phone, so I could use Google Maps in most of the countries. I had a GPS as well. That's one thing I would definitely take. I would not carry any paper maps, because it's just more flexible and it's much easier to navigate to towns, for example. It's just such an experience. It's such a subjective thing. And I've had many of times where I've met people on the road that liked one thing, and then I went across and I just didn't like it at all, because it was just not what I was enjoying. You know, it's the sort of thing, and I think this is quite individual. In terms of the bike, learn how to fix your bike properly. I didn't really break much, but it's just for peace of mind. Know what the little noises are, what the noises are you can ignore, and what are the ones you should really be taking care of. So a bit more than just changing a tire. Like, over and above all, if you've got an idea, just don't push it ahead of you all the time. If you really want to do it, just do it. For me, this has been fun. And I think adventuring, cycling, whatever you do, if you take a year off, it should be fun. Of course, you will suffer every now and then, and you will have a rocky day. But I think overall, you should really enjoy it. Planning to do more about bike packing. Obviously, I've spent a year gathering experience now, and what has been quite a unique journey, in a sense that just taking so little can get you such a long way. I want to be focused on sharing those information and just to talk to people about it. And then, of course, I'm going to be hopefully doing a little bit more adventuring. What that in particular will be, I'm not sure yet. I've got a couple of ideas. There's a couple of places I really, really want to go now.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Just yeah, there will be plenty of stuff on the channels.
An exciting journey, lots to look back on. So
Yes.
Those who haven't, your Instagram is awesome. I love keeping up to date with all of your adventures. So thank you so much for updating us on your amazing one-year journey. Anything else you'd like to add to anyone watching? Get cycling?
Yeah, get cycling. Ride single-speed bikes, and you know, all the money you save you can spend in beer and coffee, which is quite handy. No, I shouldn't say that, shouldn't I? Well, it's quite simple, isn't it? there's plenty of people that agree with that.
I'm one of them.
Brilliant.
Thanks so much, Markus. Good luck.
Go.